What's up again, viewers? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to the final finale of Batman month. And I'm here reviewing the conclusion to Christopher Nolan's Batman Trilogy, Dark Knight Rises. Now, I do happen to have here my exclusive midnight IMAX poster, which I'll try to hang up somewhere in my rooms one day, hopefully. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the cast because chances are if you're watching this review you probably already know who has it. I would just like to say everyone in the cast did an A+ performance. Every character is important, even the small miniature ones. However, I really wish Michael Caine would have been in this more. I think he had maybe less than 15 minutes of screen time, so that was a little disappointing, but that's a small gripe to a much bigger picture. Anyway, the plot to Dark Knight Rises takes place 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight, in which Batman took the fall for Harvey Dent's death and in essence kind of took all the negative heat on the city and therefore kind of created a time of peace in which Gotham is really doing absolutely good thanks to Harvey Dent's pursuit of justice. And it seems like everything in Gotham is going just fine. Crime is down really low. The police really are doing a great job. And it seems like everything's going just fine. That is, however, until Bane shows up. And this time, rather, Bane brings by far the greatest threat that Gotham has ever faced. And by far the greatest threat that Batman has ever faced. Now, this time, rather, he's not trying to bring the city down with fear. He's not trying to turn the city against itself and you trying to prove a point. He is just bent on the complete destruction of Gotham City itself and killing everyone in it. Total mass genocide on an unimaginable scale. And afterwards, Batman decides that it's time for him to come out of retirement and take on this threat just like anyone would want him to. But he quickly realizes that Bane is not only his greatest opponent he's ever faced, this is an opponent who's built and trained to specifically be able to take Batman down and pretty much top him in what Batman does best. Their fighting styles are kind of formidable against each other, but Bane's far more aggressive. It's kind of reminiscent of Rocky 3, as in taking on Clubber Lang. Like, this is not an opponent you've ever faced before. This is an opponent that is hungry to take your ass down, and he does. Now, that's all I will say in terms of the plot, because I don't want to spoil too much of the movie. Now, I have nothing but amazing things to say about this movie. The action pieces that are in this movie are so well filmed. They only use CG the way it's supposed to be used, and you only want to use it if you have no choice. But other than that, everything in this is practical effects. You're actually seeing actual fist fights. You're not seeing a whole bunch of CG action. You're seeing actual things blow up. You're seeing cars crash. You're seeing just everything you would want to see in a great summer action flick. The dynamic between specific characters also works too. The dynamic between Catwoman and Batman was really quite interesting and actually brought some really great memories of things that they had done together in the comic book, so I'm glad that they brought that back. And there's a specific plot point that has done this movie which actually ties into one of the most infamous stories, arcs in the whole Batman comic book, which is Nightfall, but I'm sure you guys saw that coming. And another thing this movie does exceptionally well is that it misdirects you and thinking that the movie is going in a certain direction and then completely turns it around and goes in another direction and does an even better job. Now, I will like to say this. I don't think this movie is better than Batman Begins or The Dark Knight, simply because that what this particular trilogy does is it does what other ones fail to do. Other ones in the past usually focus on trying to make the sequel better than the story that came before, but with these three films, they not only balance each other out, they tend to bring the same amount of suspense, the same amount of thrill, the same amount of anticipation that comes on its own levels, but they manage to balance each other out. It's the same feeling done differently. and in a much unique way than the other two films. So it's really understandable if someone prefers one film over the other, but they're all equal. And I just have nothing but good things to say. Just, if there's any real flaws I would have to say about The Dark Knight Rises is, be careful if you're going to see this in IMAX. I'm not sure if this will happen in your IMAX theater, but in mine in particular, the speaker system was on a little bit too well, to the point where the music was constantly too loud, to the point where you cannot understand anything anyone is saying. Batman's voice, you can hardly hear Batman's voice, and with Bane's voice, when you can hear his voice, it's very menacing at times, but there are a couple of moments where it's hard to understand, but I don't think that's the movie's fault. I think that's the theater's fault. So anyway, I'm proud to give The Dark Knight Rises a solid 10 out of 10. Definitely go see this, see it twice, in fact, see it 3 times. I plan on seeing this movie at least 5 times over the next month and a half if it's still in my theaters. If you like this review, please like, comment down below, and subscribe at the top to keep track of me and my future videos. And I would like to thank all of you out there who have supported Batman Month since the beginning. You've turned it into just an absolutely wonderful success, better than anything I could have ever hoped for, and you've encouraged me to keep going with 3TR and to make these videos better, and hopefully that will draw more people in, and the more people I bring in, the more, hopefully the better my videos will get from you guys' inspirations. So again, I would like to say good night, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.